Being curious, I think, is super important. And that is, like I said, I'm very passionate about what I do. If you're different, let's be different.
In the age of digital noise, where attention is fleeting, content is everywhere.
Physician saw a content, then we can trigger a call to action, or we can recommend, or we can redirect content, or we can keep the interaction, but always based on what physician wants to receive.
From deploying tools like Agentforce to redefining what meaningful engagement looks like, Carolina is leading one of the most exciting transformations in the industry today.
Well, I think in our case, we're working with the personalization with one of the Salesforce tool. And what we are seeing is first, you need to have data.
She's worked across continents, built strategies at global scale, and brought vision to life through execution.
It's a huge divorce now. So far, we have the Viva CRM, we have not all the tools from Salesforce. So what we are using is Marketing Cloud for our automatic and massive email, personalization. Now we are starting pilot agent with autonomous agents.
Even in 2025, the average pharma company still operates with over 100 silo data systems. And unifying that data to build a 360-degree view of customer remains one of the industry's toughest challenges. How are you approaching data unification at Grunenthal?
Pharma especially, we always say, oh, we don't have content. But during this 10 years, we have been creating plenty of content that maybe we haven't used it in a correct way, or just we need to redefine. So we are seeing if the physician see X time a content, we're available to create a pop-up. Hey, do you like the content? Yes? No? If it's yes, you can keep recommended. If not, we try to ask why.
Today's story isn't just about omnichannel strategy, it's about personalization, precision, and purpose. And at the center of that story is someone who's quietly but powerfully reshaping the way pharma connects with the world. Carolina Quezada Correa is the global omnichannel operations lead at Grunenthal Group. So if you're ready to peek behind the curtain of one of pharma's most forward-thinking digital transformations, let's get into it. Carolina, welcome to Drug Diaries. Before we jump into today's episode, I just want to say something from the heart. Over 93% of the people who watch this podcast regularly haven't subscribed. And listen, I get it. Life is busy. You click, you watch, you move on. But if you've ever felt like this show brings you value, if it has made you think, sparked a new idea, introduced you to something inspiring, then I have a small favor to ask. Please hit that subscribe button. It might not seem like much, but to me, it means everything. This podcast has always been a labor of love. No sponsors, no script, just honest conversations with people trying to make a difference in the world of healthcare. And your support, your one click, helps me keep doing that. It helps more people discover these voices. It helps this community grow. So if you're here, if you believe in this, please consider subscribing. Thank you for being here. Now let's get into the episode. In the age of digital noise, where attention is fleeting, content is everywhere, how do you build meaningful connections between a pharmaceutical company and the people it serves? How do you ensure that every email, every conversation, every digital touchpoint isn't just another message, but a moment of real value? Today's story isn't just about omnichannel strategy. It's about personalization, precision, and purpose. It's about the intersection of cutting-edge technology and human understanding. And at the center of that story is someone who's quietly but powerfully reshaping the way pharma connects with the world. Carolina Quezada Correa is the global omnichannel operations lead at Grunenthal Group. And if you haven't heard her name before, that's about to change. She's not just building frameworks, she's building future-ready systems that integrate AI, real-time personalization, and unified data to create truly intelligent patient and HCP-centered experiences. From deploying tools like Agentforce to redefining what meaningful engagement looks like, Carolina is leading one of the most exciting transformations in the industry today. She's worked across continents, built strategies at global scale, and brought vision to life through execution. In today's episode, we go beyond buzzwords and KPIs. We talk about how AI is already changing the game. We unpack the challenge of unifying fragmented data, and we explore what it means to build omnichannel strategies that are not just efficient, but deeply human. So if you're ready to peek behind the curtain of one of pharma's most forward-thinking digital transformations, let's get into it. Carolina, welcome to Drug Diaries.
Thank you so much. Wow, amazing introduction. I feel like
Oh,
very
thank you.
honorable. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Carolina. It's such a pleasure and an honor to have you on Drug Diaries. And I've waited for this moment for a few months. So thanks for making it happen. I know life is busy and you've got an extremely busy schedule. And I really appreciate you making time to join this show.
More than happy. Thank you so much for the invitation. For me, it's also it's a huge honor.
Thank you. So, Carolina, they say digital transformation is as much about people as it is about technology. And your journey reflects that. You've worked across global markets, scaled digital strategies, and now lead omnichannel operations at Grunenthal. Can I request you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us how did your path lead to where you are today and what drew you to the intersection of tech, data, and pharma engagement?
Well, as you say, my name is Carolina Quezada. I am from Chile. So I started working in pharma, I think almost 11 years ago in Pfizer when, that I studied public relations. So you say, what that is a public relation in pharma? And then my first positioning was in a regulatory area. So in the beginning, I was just thinking, okay, it was a small project that I received the recommendation. And I said, well, I'm just going to go. I was 23 years old. And I said, I'm going to just try, see what is that project. Because in my mind, I was thinking, it's a project of a couple of months. I just gonna get a couple of money, saving money. And then my idea was to let's go, let's travel, thinking of this in that moment where you are. But then and you say, but Caro, how you went to regulatory area? I think that in that moment also the regulatory area they were thinking and looking for something different. I was working in the artwork as an artwork coordinator, so it was not really necessary to know a lot of be a pharmaceutical, but you need to follow a lot of process. So for me, it was a amazing experience because you made a lot of training. You know how to do all the vademecum, the foil, the labeling,
Labeling.
and everything. So I learned a lot about the pharma industry. That I have plenty of energy. So I was just not only in the regulatory areas. I was just looking for other, like how is the marketing, how can support. And then I start supporting in different projects until my one of my previous boss, she told me, Caro, do you want to join the digital or multi-channel area? Because we're just starting and we need more people, especially for the content creation. And I said, well, I can do it because I knew how to create the content. Also, I knew about the labeling. In that moment, nobody believes in digital. So I was just say, let's start creating some content from scratch. Uh, I was just taking information from the label and I was putting in emails and start showing. So I think if you say from that moment to right now where we are talking about high-end personalization, it has been a huge journey so far. Well, then in Pfizer, I start working more with the team. We launched a email, different platform, social media, other things. And then I have the opportunity to move to Grunenthal Chile as a head of Omnichannel. So for me, it was also a huge experience. Then we realized that in that moment was COVID. So in that moment, Chile was really advanced on e-consent. So we were really fast. So we were with the whole team. That is also it's not myself alone. I had in that moment an amazing comics team in Chile. So we were really looking forward. Let's work. We need e-consent. So we were working super fast. I remember that moment we were spending hours until late, but we were having super fun with the team. Like, okay, we need to. This is our goal. Let's do it. So I was in Grunenthal almost 3 years. In Chile, then when I received the opportunity to join the global team, it was like, okay, should I be the person, the correct person to join the global team or not? And well, here we are almost 3 years in this global position, doing plenty of things, supporting the people, and special, I think, being closely with the local team. I think that is one of the most important when you were local and now you're global, you feel different, the connection and the pain point and the business need and how you can really support from global experience to the local. But that is my journey. And now we are living here in Netherlands. So it's a huge change.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. And I think I've seen quite a few leaders in the industry who started with a very tactical, narrow, small role, but their restless intellectual curiosity led them to learn about different functions because you're so curious. You want to know about why are we doing this and why are we doing it this way. And that's how they learned and they went up to the position they are today. And your journey is absolutely exceptional and remarkable. And I'm sure it's all down to your intellectual curiosity to learn more and to constantly try and improve things wherever you see a possibility.
And I think I can endorse also. I remember that, 11 years ago, I think nobody believes a lot of digital. So when you were starting and creating some campaign, try to just put them in the moment. I was just knocking door. I need to be 5 minutes in the board meeting. I need to be like a 5 minutes in the sales meeting. But I was always trying to put like a let's share what we are doing digital, and that I think also make a huge change because they saw that we were not disconnected. At least what I see in my experience in Pfizer and also in local and now here is that they see us as a partner, not digital is a separate area and they're gonna replace us, or the typical question that they say. It was not the intention. We always say, how can I support you as a digital, and how can we grow together?
That's fantastic. Carolina, omnichannel has become a bit of a buzzword uh, thrown around in slide decks and conference panels. Beneath the jargon, it's about one thing: relevance at every moment. And according to a McKinsey report, HCPs now expect the same digital first personalized experience they get from, let's say, consumer tech. From your perspective, what does truly omnichannel look like in pharma today? And where do most companies get it wrong?
Yeah, I saw also a report that yesterday that the most important is to have integrated data, because if you want to create personalization, you need to have the data integration. In our case, we were thinking more in the future. So for 3 years ago, we started working with Data Cloud, so that will integrate all the data, because before you were with silos. So you had the
Yes.
information from Viva, you have the information of data, you have the information from the sales, from everywhere, but in a different platform. So what we start working in that moment, we say, okay, now that we have the integration, let's see how we can really enhance the personalization. So yesterday I was reading an article that so far only 10% of pharma has integrated data. So, but they're thinking in more advanced. Oh, we need to jump to AI, AI. Wait a little bit. It's important to really understand what you have, what is your integration. So for myself, what I see as our omnichannel, that you have a correlation of the different content and the different platform. So we have different campaign, for example, that can start from the field team and to end to also with the field team, but you can include, in our case, well, approve emails, self-marketing cloud, web strategy, webinar, but everything integrated so you can see the whole experience. And with that, Data Cloud is supporting us a lot. And I think that is the most important. So what I see is a huge change. Of course, now when you start and you say, oh yeah, I'm doing personalization. Yeah, you only put the name. But now with all the tools, I know that we don't need to focus on so much in tool, but in my case, I like to put the hands in the dirty. It's super important because the tool give you a huge solution how you can really um, work in the business need or in the pain point. As I say before, well, I think it's nowadays that you can see personalization with tools that you are available to trigger content based on interaction, based on previous business behavior, previous historical data, is a huge change. I think also is a change of mindset, because as a pharma, a really typical is you create content based on what the physician what based on what you think that the physician want to receive. Nowadays, you need to start changing the mindset, and you say, well, you can create content, you can create or set up campaigns that we call it, at least are in Grunenthal, always on campaign. So it's a huge setup in the beginning with content tagging. It's a lot of effort back then. it remains active and is based on behavior. So if the physician saw a content, then we can trigger a call to action, or we can recommend, or we can relate content, or we can keep the interaction, but always based on the what physician wants to receive.
Very well said. I think the key takeaway for me is get the basics right first and get the foundation in place. And then you build your journey on top of that. So, and I know it can be a tedious process to get everything coordinated, getting the foundation ready. But once you have it, then there's no looking back. Then I think you've got a smooth ride ahead.
Yeah.
So I think that's very well explained. Carolina, there is something incredibly powerful about showing up for someone at exactly the right time with exactly what they need. And AI is helping us do that at scale. You mentioned the exciting work you're doing with AI powered real time personalization. Can you walk us through how that works and what actually looks like in practice for HCPs and patients?
Well, I think in our case, we are working with the personalization with one of the Salesforce tool. And what we are seeing is first, you need to have data. So, because you need to have, if you put personalization or include personalization in the web, you need to have at least traffic to understand what is the content, what is the behavior. Also, as I mentioned before, you need to have the tagging of the content. You need to understand what you have and start from basic use case. So one of the base, from at least for myself, one of the basis use case that we're using, but I think is super powerful, is the first moment you create when they go to the home, based on the specialty, they see different content. This is a really most of the easy example of personalization that make a lot of impact. Also, what we are available to do is start implementing some pop-up. So we are seeing if the physician see X time a content, we're available to create a pop-up. Hey, do you like the content? Yes? No? If it's yes, you can keep recommended. If not, we try to ask why they didn't like it. So also that everything is in real time. So each time that we have any interaction or a new interaction, Data Cloud create a new segmentation, and we are available to trigger, like we are always say, in the real time, in the current moment, in the perfect channel, or depending of you really want to do. I have plenty of different use cases, but I think the most important that now that we are working is with Einstein, that is also an AI tool with personalization that, as I say before, that you have to work in a huge setup with the cross-functional teams. We are lucky that we have an amazing agency that support us, that is Tower Thinking. So they support us in the setup. Also, we the support with the, of course, medical, marketing, all IT, everyone need to be in the process. And then you start doing some criteria. So you have your goal of your campaign that I mentioned, I think before, that we call it always on. So you have the goal of the campaign, you set up this information. Okay, I'm gonna just create a campaign with non-visit HCPs that has been content X time. So you start setting up different process criteria, and then you mention, okay, if this is a specialty and is consuming this unbranded content, how can I trigger or recommend more content during the web? So, well, I think we are in that process that is working really well with amazing result. I think on the so far we are seeing with recommended content or related content a click-through rate of 9%. Also, we are seeing, or because it's not you have to work also in the retention. So we're seeing the retention of those campaigns from 2 minutes in the web. Now we have the average 23 minutes. And we're
Wow.
forward to see if we are available to increment more. And that is what the only reason is because we are recommended content based on they want to hear, they want to see, and they want to. So I think that is the most important. But also, it's super important to re-engage people because we are seeing that we have the web. We know the pharma web are not 100% if you compare with retail or other, but we are seeing that there's a huge opportunity to re-engage people. So also, we are having some campaigns that always on. You can set up the criteria, I don't know, HCPs that are inactive 30 days or 50 days or whatever you want. It's always personalized. So you can set up this re-engage campaign that is the typical, oh, we miss you. And we haven't seen you, we miss you. But now with these new tools and with more data that we are getting, we're available to say, okay, we miss you, but we know you. So as we know you, maybe this content will be more personal or better for you. And that campaign also we are seeing, I think that more than 40% of the click to rate. So it's a huge change. So we are seeing like okay, if we are doing personalization in real time, it's work.
Wow, that is truly incredible. And it's so powerful to get the real time insights and feedback from the HCP so that you are refining and fine tuning your communication strategy dynamically. And just trying to understand the tech perspective. So, this sort of technology, I think, do you need to have the entire Salesforce ecosystem to be able to implement it, or does it work alongside Viva?
Exactly. I think, well, in our case, so far, because there is a huge divorce now. So far,
Mm.
we have the Viva CRM. We have not all the tools from Salesforce. So what we are using is Marketing Cloud for our
Yes.
automatic and massive email personalization. Now we are starting pilot agent with autonomous agents. So I think that is the three tools from Salesforce that we have, and of course, Data Cloud. In our case, Data Cloud for us is the core. So you have I don't know how you say in English, but you have that
Ecosystem? Yeah.
ecosystem. You have the cloud, and then
Mm.
you have everything integrated: Viva, web, personalization, go to webinar, dashboard. So everything is in the next to data cloud. But for us,
Right.
the core is the again data cloud.
Right. That's
Mm.
amazing. So you've handpicked the technologies to suit your ecosystem and to meet your objectives. And
And it's not easy because you need to. I was in the local team, so you know that in the local team you're easier to implement a campaign, maybe with Mailchimp or maybe with other tools that are easier, cheaper, faster. But what we
mm,
are really push when we start this omnichannel journey, I think it was in 2021, like a official, we were really put like a let's trust in this global platform that are integrated because it's not you need to think in a long term
mm,
contactability. So that also is a huge change of mindset. A
yes.
company in the process on the adoption that you need to share also what are the benefits to use this tool, especially if you want to see the data. If you have this, if you are using this integrated tool, you will see it in a easier way. If you have in silos platform, it's gonna be difficult to just we're gonna get back. Like when we were starting, I remember how long it took to create one campaign. You need to
Mm,
contact the BI team, you need to contact the Comex team to download the data. What is the latest interaction? What are the adoption level of the physician? Everything you had to put it in different Excels. And then you download, and after that, you start creating the campaign based on the specialty or segmentation. But now that you have everything, you're available to see, okay, I want to create a campaign that
mm,
for all this physician that has a open rate of 40%. Also, we haven't visited in the previous 6 months, but also they saw or they went to our web during the last month. So, and this is one of the use cases that we can create, but there's plenty of idea, and I think that is the most important or relevant things.
right. And I'm guessing with so many competing technologies must be such a hard process. It's a high involvement decision making process where you need to thorough due diligence to see which technology can offer you the uh, best possibility of maximizing your impact in the market. I'm sure it must be a very confusing and daunting process to select those tools within the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think when we start this omni-channel journey, I was not a part of the global team, but I was part of the pilot country. So I was the first country, one of the first country that made the first omni-channel campaign with all the different information based on the I don't know how many time they were watching the video with trigger, analyzing everything. And now that we are expanding the ecosystem, what we are really challenged and it's some conversation that you have internally with your global IT, with the marketing, with everyone is what do you really want? Do you want
Mm,
to maintain the omnichannel ecosystem? Do you want to work in silos? What is the experience that you want to see? So at least our idea is to maintain so far, never know, but at least the idea is
mm,
to maintain the omnichannel ecosystem because if you are, for example, creating that now is hot topic and alternate topic, the agent. If you have an agent disconnected with your omnichannel ecosystem, what is going to be the trigger action? So that is what I really try to enhance the important, because the agent is one part. It's okay, they can. It's one part, but what happened previous the agent and post the agent, and that you need to have the integrated ecosystem to create a really nice experience.
Thank you. I think that was very insightful. And there's a stat that I would like to share with our audience, and that might surprise a lot of the people. Even in 2025, the average pharma company still operates with over 100 silo data systems. And unifying that data to build a 360-degree view of customer remains one of the industry's toughest challenges. How are you approaching data unification at Grunenthal, and why is it so critical to omnichannel success?
Yeah, well, I think the team, the data team that work here is amazing. I think they really understood the benefit of having this integration, and also we share the value of have this we still, of course, working a lot of things. We're trying to work in some dashboard to have. We are upgrading the dashboard because we have some that in the beginning we have dashboard very focused on multi-channel. So you have the information about procurement, you have the information of Salesforce Marketing Cloud in silos. So now our idea is to share. We just launched the phase one to have more omnichannel experience. So if you are having a campaign that involves face-to-face, approved email, digital interaction, webinar, MSL, or whatever, you can see how is the journey, where you are missing the client, where you're not, where you can improve or not. So it's something that you need to still working. At least so far, the team, the BI team, is getting a lot of work and they're working amazing. So, but I think it's something that you need to share and work together, because also I remember when we implemented data cloud, they were mentioned like, oh yeah, but we already have data lake and we have everything. So what is the key benefit? And then you need to start, well, why we're doing this, and also what is the benefit for the markets and for the client, for everything. So I think the most important is to be real aligned why we're doing this. And I am very eager to say, okay, try. If you have mistake, you can. This is the benefit of being data. You have so many data that you are available to say, okay, this campaign maybe it didn't work as we thought, but let's get the insight and let's improve for the next one. And to be honest, I'm not very expert of data, of course. I think that is what we have the BI team and other person, but I think it's super important to understand, and that is I really like. And if we went back to the content regarding personalization, I went to one of my cluster and I say, well, let's try to create some campaign with personalization. And they will say, first, no, we don't have too many when so I just saw the web, everything, and you have some information that you say, you have plenty of content, maybe it's all, but 60% of your client only visit the home. So you have a huge improvement. What about if we co-create a campaign with existing content, but using personalization, just based on behavior, and we are reusing contents. Sometimes we in pharma, especially, we always say, "Oh, we don't have content, we don't have content." But during this 10 years, we have been created plenty of content that maybe we haven't used it in a correct way, or just we need to redefine. Maybe change the color, maybe change the format, and you can use, especially with established brand. Sorry, it's important to just redesign, recreate the format, and you can deliver the same experience.
Carolina, it's easy to talk about automation, AI, and scalability, but at the end of the day, this is about real human connection. And you've always struck me as someone who understands that balance deeply. How do you keep the human element at the center of digital engagement? And how do you make sure that personalization doesn't feel robotic?
I think the most important is to really, well, apart of, I'm very eager to be authentic. I think you need to really connect depending of the brand of the product. Also, if you are doing some unbranded content, it's really important to be not. I'm very eager to not put a lot of things in the email. Typically, you see a lot of content in the email. In my case, I always, and also when I was in the local, I was always eager to just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. to the call to action to engage with the web. And also, it's important to be with the team, especially when I was in Pfizer, also in Grunenthal. They were always the leader team always put us to be in the field. So in my case, when I was in the local omnichannel team, at least I was in the field 3 per month minimum. So I was here, accompany the field team, accompany to hear from them how is the content, how is the information. And I always say to one of them was a rheumatology doctor. One of the visits, he told me, like, Caro, perfect. I really loved the emails, but sometimes too much. I don't have the time. What about if you
Mm.
create a video, like a TikTok video, 30
Yeah.
seconds, and then the call to action, you put it the whole article or the whole information that you want. So also I think it's super important to hear from them, no? To see what
Yes.
they really want. And that is also one of my colleagues, Cristina, with the Italian team. They ran a sentiment analysis pilot last year with amazing results, where we made this webinar. And after the webinar, we asked the typical, we made the survey, but the survey was different. So the survey, we made an open text survey when we analyzed the sentiment of the answer. And then you trigger information to close the loop with the field team. So, of course, if you're not available to go to the field team all the time, well, nowadays you have plenty of information to capture insight
Mhm.
and keep improving the experience of them. But it's super important to hear what they really want, if they like the content or no, or how can you really move forward to be more personalized or more human.
Right. Wow. I really like the fact that you like to stay tuned into the real world situations, and you connect with the HCPs often, and you go on field visits, because I think that's where the real insights come from. And the other important point you made is about the acceptance of videos, because over time we are seeing that the information consumption pattern has changed significantly, and people are not no longer interested in going through heaps and heaps of data, reading a lot of text. They're interested in watching short, impactful, clear, concise videos. They prefer that as opposed to going through lots of text. So, has that changed the content or communication strategy that you're leading?
I think that is still, I think in pharma we are still behind. Maybe in big pharma they're more advanced. In our case, they take a lot to create videos. For now with AI, it's getting faster and easier to
Yeah.
implement, but I think it's gonna be a huge game changer. Also, what I really try to say, I'm very simple. I'm trying to say to
Mm.
my team, you don't need to have the huge elephant. Just start from zero. So if you already have a webinar, the webinar we can, like now, the podcast, you can have a huge webinar or
Yeah.
podcast, and then you can split, and you are just reusing
Mm.
the content, highlight the most important of the podcast or webinar, and that also is make a huge impact. I have really good experience in previous job where we were doing that,
Mhm.
and that doesn't take too much effort. Of course, you need to edit, you need to approve everything, but I think it's something that it will take more advance in the upcoming months, years,
Yeah.
because here is everything right now. And you can accompany, of course, and you maintain. I think I'm very eager also with the emails. Everybody say that emails is dead. I don't think so. I think this is still very important for me and for everyone, for you, for a startup, for everyone. If you have email, you're available to convert and to follow up. So I think email is still really relevant, but you need to
Mm.
accompany it with different formats to have a really nice ecosystem experience.
Right. And I'm sure in the next few years, the technology will advance to a level where we'll see talking emails. You might just see people speaking as opposed to reading through the text. And I always hope we had a tool that could enable that. But I'm sure there must be people working on developing such technologies, and I hope they come soon. But
Oh,
that would be a game changer.
well, but it's nowadays. I think there's plenty of different tools, especially with social media. I'm very
Mm.
eager. I like LinkedIn, of course, but I really love Instagram. I use TikTok, but not too much. But I think I'm more millennial for in that case. But in Instagram, you need to co-create a very fast and friendly message. And I
Right.
think nowadays there's plenty of different tools that give you template, give you support on edit information, presentation, whatever. So I
Yeah.
use a lot in my case Canva. For
Hmm.
me, Canva is still really relevant, and also they're really very eager to keep evolving. So I think Canva so far is you can have everything: presentation, video, and now AI they are implementing, and you don't need to know about the design or other things that before it was more complicated. Now it's super easy, super simple.
Absolutely. And I remember when I launched my podcast, a lot of the people suggested that you should go on TikTok. And I used to say, no, my content is not for TikTok. And they said, you have no idea. The science and technology community on TikTok is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? And that's a very good platform for discovery. So I started experimenting with TikTok, and the people are watching. People are consuming that content on TikTok, and I was really surprised because I'd never used TikTok as an app. I thought that this is for teenagers, and but I was wrong.
No, regarding TikTok, I think it's getting increase, especially in the light topic, because I saw there is some last year during the Black Friday, they had a revenue of 1 million, and they think that a global marketing will hit almost 300 billion by
Wow.
2034. I think for B2C, D2C, startup, podcast, I think it's going to be a huge increase, especially for the live shopping. I think that is, if you have B2C or whatever you want to sell, the clothes, I don't know, the styling, but you make a live shopping and it's going to be a really good. I see also the conversion is like a 30%. So
Really? Oh,
honestly, if you or people are not thinking to do live shopping, again, it's authenticity. Do you want to see the brand in the real life? They can change, they can share also inside. Oh, the typical makeup this now is getting very famous. You can share, show
mhm.
also in real moment how it's work, and then the people just buy. So the experience per se is amazing.
Wow, I'm now really curious. I've never done this, but after your advice, I'm going to try live shopping on TikTok. Thank you.
It's getting increased. I think it's gonna get good.
So, Carolina, if the last few years were about catching up digitally, the next few are going to be about leaping ahead. And the pace of change is dizzying and exciting, like we discussed. What's the next frontier in omnichannel pharma engagement that you're particularly excited about? Any bold predictions?
It's difficult, but especially nowadays that it's evolving really fast.
Hmm.
I think the personalization is going to be a key pillar in omnichannel. It's getting more strong. Also, AI, everything is now with AI. So if you are not adopting AI, I think it will be a huge difference from the people that are using and not
Right.
using. Not only in pharma. My husband work in schools, so also you can see that this AI is getting indifferent. So first, I think it's super important to be curious. You need to
Mm.
keep learning, keep trying, keep exploring. Omnichannel, I think, is going to be a huge pillar also in pharma, but more bold, using personalization with AI and so on. So to prediction, just keep studying, keep being curious, keep learning, keep trying. If it doesn't work, well, you learn a lot. I'm very eager to, if it's something doesn't work, you learn a lot. If you have bad or good experience, you learn for both. So I think that is
Yeah.
my main goal.
Right. Great advice. And that very nicely leads me into my next question. I think there's a whole generation of young talent watching this space, trying to figure out where they can make a difference. What advice would you give to someone looking to build a career at the intersection of pharma, digital, innovation?
Well, in that thing, I say always, well, I already said, being curious, I think is
Mhm.
super important.
Yeah.
Follow your passion. And that is, I can say, I'm very passionate about what I do. Sometimes people will say, oh, yeah, you are thinking different, or maybe you are, if you're different, let's be different. That is the most important. Be authentic, be curious, be passionate about what you really want. Try something. There is a lot of challenge. Life is not easier. So in my case, I really very eager. Well, my husband was a former rugby, so he was really elite
Wow.
sport. He teach me a lot of things that you need to have goals. You need to have goals in your life as a sport, also in your work or whatever you have, but you need to have goals. what are your purpose? And after that, you need to be disciplined. Uh, and I always try to, at least in my social media and in Instagram, I really push people to be disciplined. Is I wake up every day at 5. I really my husband always say that
Wow.
I am like a mouse. I wake up, I do my things, but it's the only form that you can follow your path. I think discipline is really important. Sometimes we don't want to do the things, but we need to do it.
Mm,
Soft skills, I think, is going to be something that we are not talking about so much. Is
mm,
increase a lot because nowadays, if you compare with the students, they don't have soft skills. They are not working on team building. So if you are prepared to work with some people that maybe you don't like, but you need to work with them, I think that is going to be make the difference. So
absolutely.
again, follow passion, try new talent, try new things, be curious, think different, big dream. As I put in one of my LinkedIn posts, have goals, be disciplined, and work because life is hard. So you need to work.
Right. Wow, that's a very, very important piece of advice. So, discipline, work ethic, passion, and restless curiosity are some of the key pillars to achieving excellence in your own career and in your own pursuits.
Yeah.
So,
You know that yesterday also was looking one of the podcasts, one comment from the CEO of Amazon, and he mentioned in one of the news that he shared that he is scared for the upcoming generation. Because, and I was thinking like, why he is scared? Yeah, but what he says is, well, the new generation are missing, or they will miss the human contactability, the teamwork, and other stuff. And they mention, what about if we should hire someone that is, I don't know, 20 years, or we can create an agent? I don't see it like that. I think, of course, it will evolve a lot, but if we go back, as I said before, soft skills going to be a huge opportunity to have the opportunity to communicate in a good way, to talk, to uh, to learn of each other, and then of course the tools will support you. But I think that pillar is going to be a key. I think
right.
so.
Yeah.
You never know. This evolving really fast.
I think you are absolutely spot on, and you brought out a very important point. And back in the days when I was growing up, there were no gadgets, there was no technology. We used to go out there and play with strangers and the strange kids who we weren't friends with, but we would make friends so easily. And that helped us develop those interpersonal skills and ability to solve problems and conflicts. But now, if you look at today's generation, they are glued to their phones 7 to 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
and in the name of interaction, all they're doing is just exchanging texts on Snapchats and WhatsApp. And but that doesn't help you build those interpersonal skills and soft skills. So I totally agree with Jeff Bezos and you that soft skills for younger generation is it could be potentially be a gap. I think that's
Because
a
yeah, you don't see it, and also I saw a lot with my husband with the kids, and they are scared sometimes. They
mm,
are scared to present, to feel, to other things, and I think that is the most important. You need to fall to learn. You need to try. You need to present. You need to talk with people. So my recommendation, and also I very sometimes I really joke with my team that in our weekly meeting, I always talk last because I talk too much.
mm,
You need to talk. Talk with anyone. If
yeah,
you are in walking in your neighbor, say hi. Say hi. Say how you are doing. Have a good day. Those are small phrase give a huge opportunities. My recommendation is also is try talk with people and don't be afraid that we always try to follow or say, oh, yeah, I don't know, they are going to judge me or who cares? We're not available to control that. So just
yeah.
try the authentic, what we were mentioned before, and keep learning.
Wow. That's a fantastic piece of advice that's going to stay with me for a very long time. Carolina, that brings us to the end of our today's episode. And this has been such an insightful and energizing conversation. What stood out to me most is how deeply intentional your work is. Not just about building systems or implementing tools, but about crafting experiences that actually matter. for patients or HCPs or for the future of the industry. You've helped us see that omnichannel isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset, and one that blends empathy, innovation, and data into something truly transformative. Thank you for sharing your journey, your expertise, and the bold vision you are helping to bring to life at Grunenthal. And to everyone listening, if this episode made you pause, reflect, or reimagine what's possible in pharma engagement, I hope you'll take that energy forward. Carolina, thank you once again. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Drug Diaries.
Thank you so much for the invitation. For me, it's an honor to be with you. It was a really nice conversation and looking forward to keep this contact with you and see how you will grow in this podcast because I really believe that the podcast will increase a lot. So thank you to you to be also to share something that maybe we're not or not everybody share. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Carolina. Very kind words. And I hope we get a chance to host you again on Drug Diaries very soon.